director and I'm in production going, who the hell wrote this and thought that this was okay to write, baby bursts into tears, or the baby is quietly sleeping as this scene takes place. And then you're trying to shoot that and you go, well, how did I think that was going to happen? That the baby's going to be on the bed. And so you're having to be really creative production wise. And we'd have to pre-light the room and the baby would fall asleep in the bed. And then my actors would tiptoe in and my crew would tiptoe in and we'd all kind of be whispering in the room trying to shoot the scene. And so there was a funny, creative sort of workaround for all of those things. But there's a reason that you don't see toddlers as lead characters in movies, because they're sort of undirectable, and that's the beauty of them, but also the challenge.
So you had an army of babies just waiting to just fill in the void, huh?
And, when I made the movie, I was 6 months pregnant. I had a 16-month-old myself. So I would be on set wrangling these babies all day. And then I would go home and my toddler was like, mommy, and I'm super pregnant. And I'm just like, this never stops. I'm in baby hell all the time. But I think it gave me a skill set that I could use on set. I think I wasn't intimidated by a kid at that age. I knew what little tricks to kind of get them comfortable and
get them going.
Yeah.
Okay. This film, it's a chase film, it's a romantic film, and it's a film that you do, the wrong thing for the right reason.
Right. I like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm just always interested in good people making bad choices because it's such a part of being human, and we're all flawed and we're all dysfunctional in our own way. And I think, none of these people are malicious or setting out to ruin someone's life. They're just acting from kind of a slightly delusional, lost place, and they're looking for connection and sometimes doing that in the wrong way. And to me, that's a very human story, and there's something very universal about that kind of searching. And so that's what I was looking to explore.
Yeah, I noticed that connections can come from out of nowhere. They can just happen right now in this instant. Because when I was watching TALLULAH and with her thing, when she was sitting with Nico's mom and she told her story, I was thinking, okay, is this her real story, or is this just a fabricated one? Because she had fabricated so much.
Yeah, I mean, she's an untrustworthy narrator. She's a scamp from the moment that the movie begins. And that part of casting Ellen Page, honestly, was I knew I needed someone who had a lot of charm and charisma, because she is a sketchy character. You don't know what to believe. You do understand, that is to me a moment of honesty. I do think that is what happened to her, but maybe not. Maybe there's elements in there that she's sort of fabricated or she's, changed in her own mind for survival and moving forward and dealing with pain. But I knew that there had to be a kind of lovable quality to her because, she sort of has these reprehensible, impulsive actions, and you need to believe that it's not coming from a bad place. Like, it's coming from the fact that she's never really had guidance. She's never been parented. She's never really learned how to be a person in society. She's kind of, as Margot calls her, she's a feral beast.
She's a beast, right? A wolf. Was he raised with something with wolves or something?
Well, Margot says, "What, were you raised by wolves?" And she said, "I wish." It's that would probably be better than who she was raised with. So they're all people who are struggling with feeling lost and feeling disconnected and trying to find their way.
Yeah, and then she gives Nico's mother a gift too, because she steps out and you want a drink, okay, and then she freezes up when she's talking to the door guy.
Yeah.
And he's up there. I'm like, oh boy, okay, all right.
Allison is so brilliant in that with the physical comedy, but just, yeah, I mean, she's someone who's Allison's character, Margot, her husband was gay. She didn't have sex for 8 years of her marriage, and she stayed with him and was kind of in denial about his sexuality. And so I think she kind of rediscovers her own sexuality and the idea that she is a woman, she is attractive, and she sort of pushed all those parts of herself down. And there's kind of an awakening for her as well of like, I'm still a viable human being in the world that another human being could feel interested in or attracted to, but But then following through with that is scary because we've built up walls and it's very hard to break those down once they're in place.
Right. Now talk about the scene where it's Ellen, Tallulah, Allison, her ex-husband, and Zachary. That lunch. I mean, you could feel, and the lighting, you could feel, say, something's going to happen here. You can feel it. How did you build that up? Because
I love that scene. That was a hard scene to shoot. We shot that in one day. We did 62 setups in one day, which is just insane. And the babies were not behaving that day. They were not having it. They're like, this acting thing is not for me. But those actors are so good. And John Benjamin Hickey and Zachary Quinto and Ellen and Allison. I mean, it was like working with 4 master actors at a table. And there's so much happening in the scene and looks and subversive feeling and nobody's saying what they really want to say. And so that was a challenging scene to capture because there's the drama that's happening and then there's all the drama that's happening underneath that. And
I mean, you could feel it bubbling up, and once I think it was what the husband, ex-husband says, to me it looks like he says, it takes one to know one when he called Tallulah out.
Yeah, I mean, he is sort of, you could look at it that he's unlikable or he's being a dick, but honestly, he's a truth teller. He's like, there's something wrong with this picture and I see it and I'm going to call you on it. In a way, he's saying all the things that we've been thinking the whole time. There's a lot of red flags that have gone up here that Margot is not looking at because she's so determined to delude herself again. And she's so, wants a family and wishes that this girl were for real. So I think I like that everyone has a leg to stand on, that there's not bad guys and good guys. It's like, no villain thinks that they're a villain. So everyone's sort of justified in their stance. And I think John just did such an amazing job with that scene of and both of them, they're saying really nasty things and they're confronting each other and trying to hurt the other. But underneath it, there's kind of this bed of love and history. And I think you feel that as well.
Yeah. That scene. And then Ellen Page, the bathtub scene with the babies. Did you just switch the babies out or was that just...
No, that was one baby. That was Evie. And the don't poop line, man, that was so funny. Because the mom said, as they were getting in the tub, the mom said to Ellen, just so you know, a lot of times when Evie gets in the bath, she poops. So we went to shoot the scene, and the whole time Ellen's looking at me going like, is this going to happen? Is this baby going to poop right now? So that line when she says that. But it was such a sweet scene, and I was so anxious about it because I thought, when I shot the short film, that scene was a nightmare. The baby freaked out and started crying and didn't want to be in the tub, and it was so hard. And so I had a lot of anxiety around that scene, but it was so peaceful. We had a closed set because there was nudity. Ellen was naked and the baby was. And so it was just me and my DP and the mom and the baby and Ellen. And it just felt so natural. And they had this real moment of connecting and playing in the bath. It was hard to cut that scene down. It could have gone on forever because there were all of these little details and beautiful moments between them because they really did just take a bath together and we filmed it. And it's lovely.
It's a very touching scene.
Yeah.
Now, Ellen Page, I've seen her work before, but I've never seen her go through this many ranges and layers of emotion. For me, it was when I first saw her, it was a movie called Hard Candy.
Yes, which she's brilliant in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, I said, this woman has something here.
Yeah.
And this reminded me of that. How did you pull all that out of her? And how did she trust you enough to, okay, I'm good with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ellen is someone who, she plays funny a lot because she is very funny. She's witty and smart and she's got this dry kind of humor and she's great at delivering those Juno sarcastic lines and but she's someone who also understands that kind of deep wounded pain and loneliness and all of that. And so I think it gave her an opportunity to tap into other feelings that she's had in her life. And certainly her journey with coming out in the past couple of years and and how that's transformed her life, but how dark it was to have to be closeted before that and be an actor working and not able to be true to who you are, and a desire to escape or run away. Or I think there was something that she connected to about that in TALLULAH, that not everyone thinks, oh, I could go live in a van and dumpster dive and be off the grid. And I think there's a part of Ellen that kind of fantasized like that would be a cool kind of existence. So she just connected to something really deeply in this part, and she really trusted me, which was great because I felt like I had a real collaborator and that we could craft the performance together and find those moments in the script where we have windows into something deeper in that character. And it was a true collaboration. And I was just lucky, you cast actors who are movie stars and you don't know how open they're going to be or how hard they're going to work. And, this was a gritty shoot. There were no trailers. They were sitting on the floor of the subway when we were shooting in the subway, and they were in it and they were committed. And that was all of them. And so I was really lucky in that regard.
And it's shot in New York.
Shot in New York, yeah.
And, you give us a sense of those who haven't visited there or have been there, a shot and a feel of New York as a character. From the big shots to the guys doing the break dancing and everything.
Yeah, it's challenging to shoot in New York, especially when you're a little movie. You don't have the PAs to like lock off the street, and you don't have the extras to fill the street to make it feel like New York. So a lot of times you're having to shoot on live streets, with real people and real things happening. And at one point when we were shooting the chase scene, and Tammy Blanchard's character, Carolyn, gets in a big fight with the cab driver. Yes. And they get in this fight. And we shot on Chambers Street at rush hour. And the camera is all the way far away. We're shooting on a long lens across the street. So everyone on the street thinks this is actually happening. This blonde lady is in this huge fight with this cab driver. We had 3 cop cars pull up, screeching, sirens on while we were shooting, block off traffic, jump out. Like it was and we're calling from the other side of the street, like, this is a movie. No, don't arrest him. We're shooting something. But so it was that kind of energy on the shoot, but it feels like New York, and it feels like the New York I lived in and experienced. And I'm so glad we got to make it there.
Yeah. When I saw the scene, I expected the police. I'm like, okay, when are they gonna come? When is it gonna turn into one of those kind of movies?
Right, so. Black guy, white lady having a fist fight on the street.
I was like, oh boy, I said, here we go. And then I said, okay, she got away. But that chase was just so intense. Give me the chicken, gotta go. I was like, oh my.
It was intense to shoot too. I mean, we had a live track and we had a train that we were controlled, but the rest of the subway station was just open, and it's New York subways, so it was packed. I mean, there's people streaming through, and I'm so glad that was one of those things that I just kept thinking in my production budget. They were going to go, you know what, train's out, can't do it. And they made it happen. And the MTA in New York they're intense to work with, but they let me do it.
Wow. Very nice, very nice. So what's next for you?
So many things are next. I'm so tired. I just need a nap.
You see, that's how they kill the interview. I'm going to edit this part out. I'm so tired. I need a nap.
No.
That's code for, look, man, we're done. Okay?
No, not at all. What's next for me? I'm writing and directing a movie for Lionsgate right now, which is a remake of a French film called La Famille Bellier, and working on several of my own projects. And I have 2 little kids. I have a 2.5-year-old and a 9-month-old. So it is constant at my house.
Okay.
I'm surprised I'm not breast pumping during the interview right now. That's the kind of multitasking I've been doing lately.
She's a true San Francisco girl, okay? Saying that, she's a true San Francisco woman. Everybody, Sian Heder, writer, director, TALLULAH. Go Netflix. It's on the 29th. And you can binge watch it.
And it's also at the Kabuki Theater here.
That's right, Kabuki Theater in San Francisco. So check it out. Support. I'm sure you're gonna like it. There's so much freaking more, but I don't want to give any spoilers away. But I'm serious. It is just like, wow. Thank you so much. Thank you.